What's up, everybody, and welcome to ESO Daily. I am your host, Mystic Raven. All right, guys. So, I've been doing a lot of testing on the PTS. We all know about the patch notes right now. We all know about the upcoming changes. If you don't, there's a lot of opinions out there. That's for sure. All right, so I'm going to address this because certain YouTubers at this moment have been, been really negative about what the devs are doing. Now, I've been doing this a long time, guys. You're always going to get, changes in video games. Now, some of them are game breaking. And I can assure you, I can really assure you that these changes are not game breaking. For a lot of players, it's going to be a question of adapting to new ways to manage your resources. Okay? So this is not a game breaker. It's just slightly altering your design in your builds and your functionality in your rotation. Plain and simple, guys. It's that simple. I can assure you I have been playing with alternate builds, and I could take up more regen, but I lose out on a little bit more DPS. I can put up more DPS, but I suffer on the back end on the regen. That's what it's designed to do. I can drop my Undaunted Metal even down from 6% to 4%, grab up some extra regen, and even though and I'm going to say this, okay, Outcast, you kind of put yourself in this situation because you're like, well, Stamina, medium armor got a bigger nerf than Magicka. Why do you think that is, Outcast? Why do you think that is? I'll tell you why. Because the reason being they get cost reductions in basic functions in their CP now. So instead of, using all of that stamina for sprinting, all of that stamina for dodge rolls, using all of that stamina for blocks, blah, 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 they have a larger allocation towards their point distributing in those trees. So they can reduce those costs more significantly than anything what Magicka resources can. So that's how they're, trying to balance it out. Here's the deal, guys. The devs, know what they're doing. We might be questioning it, but the thing about it is, out of all the games I've ever played, I've always come to understand one thing. They're trying to go ahead and balance out the difference between classes. That becomes a problem in class-based MMOs. And to be completely honest with you, I wish Elder Scrolls would have stayed true to its originality prior to becoming an MMO. Because in every game it's ever had up until Elder Scrolls Online, it was sandbox, right? Meaning there was a hard cap, you could do whatever you wanted to do, but as soon as you reach those hard caps, you were done. Hell, in the first Morrowind, I would just go ahead and every time I go places, I would just jump around. I was like jumping everywhere. Jump, 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 jump. And by the time I was done, I could jump over buildings. We used to call it the Superman jump. Now, I'm not suggesting they should get something ridiculous like that. But the whole idea was you could do whatever you wanted to do so long as you kept doing it. Now, in a sandbox MMO, you have to have hard caps. But they went class-based. And with class-based systems, you got to make alterations, to balance out these equations. And I can assure you guys, the devs know what they're doing. And for other YouTubers to go ahead and spin off all of this negativity, you're not really helping the community. You're not. If anything, you're bringing it down. You're adversely affecting the perception of what players, what's going to happen before it even happens. It's still in test. They could still make some, alterations. But you guys are whining about it, hoping you're going to get your way. To be honest with you guys, and I'll be honest, and I can't break any of the NDAs, because I really wish I could, give very specifics on how you can make these adjustments, and I can't do that right now on certain things. But I will tell you, it's not that friggin' bad, man. I'm playing Stam, I'm playing Magicka, I'm taking a look at different gear sets, I'm trying different builds, I'm trying all of these different things, and it is not that bad. Yes, if you go with a little bit more resources, your DPS is going to suffer. Yes, that's true. Werewolf and vampirism, you can no longer completely negate the negative effects, so you have to take into consideration whether you want those some negative effects to stand, or whether or not you're going to take a jewelry glyph. If you do that, a jewelry enchantment, if you do that, you're going to lose out a little bit more DPS, but you're going to gain positives on the back end. So you have to, it makes your builds a little bit more complex. And it makes even somebody's running similar designs in their build. Like, say, if you have the exact gear, that selection that I do, how you enchant and how you pick up those secondary effects will dramatically alter each build's performance. All right? Plain and simple. It's just that simple. And I just really wish that some of these YouTubers who have thousands of viewers would take this a little bit more serious. Take it a little bit more serious, guys. I know, I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to be a fanboy. I've just done this a long time, man. When I go into a test, I never get I have some preconceptions if it's a standing game. Prime example of this was during SWG, Star Wars Galaxies, which we know is Star Wars Galaxy, but we called it SWG. When Sony had SWG, we had this patch, kind of like Homestead, I guess you'd say, but it was called the CU, or the Combat Upgrade. Then all of a sudden, there was some negotiation problems with Lucas and Sony, and KOTOR's announcement was, KOTOR's development was announced around this time. So all of a sudden, Sony wanted to go ahead and dramatically alter the game. I mean, dramatically. So they took me and like 30, 40 other people to secretly test, the NGE, which was the new grade enhancement. And we were testing it. And we couldn't talk about it to the general public. We couldn't post on the forums. We couldn't do none of that shit. We had direct access to a couple of the developers. But when we had tested it, we were all, agreed it was going to be a major problem. It was game breaking. It was literally game breaking what they were trying to implement because of the way the current Galactic Civil War was designed and what their implementations was going to bring and how that was going to cause a problem with the GCW. So we ended up, we told them, we specifically told them, don't do it. We're not trying, but it was too little too late. They didn't care. They launched it, and guess what? It was the death of the game. It's what killed the game. Me and 40 other players told them, don't fucking do this. Don't. Do not do it. And they didn't want to hear it. They make, millions, but hey, who are we? Nobody. We're just your, player base. So, once again, man, some of the lag around here, I got to go somewhere else. Craglorn is a lag whore. But, anyways, guys, I'm going to tell you guys, just don't push the panic button, man. Out of all the games I've ever tested and all the things that are going on, I can see exactly what ZOS is doing. And like I said, it does affect your builds very, very much so. But it's a nerf that needed to happen. And Outcast, don't give opinions about the expansion. In my opinion, I wish I could talk about it. I really wish I could. But that's your opinion. And you're entitled to it. And if you want to throw it out there, whatever. But honestly, I think the negative way you spun your post just kind of, takes the player base and feeds negativity into it. That's not cool, man. There's so many problems I have, and a lot of players want to go ahead. I've been bashed since I've started all this, guys. I know, like I said, I've never wanted to be a YouTuber, whatever. I'm just trying to help players, show them what Elder Scrolls truly gave you guys. That's the only thing I created this channel for, giving you guys the possibilities. I want you to embrace those possibilities and understand. Another YouTuber said, there's no diversity between the classes because every class can play every role, and that's not the case either. I play so many characters, so many builds. I play, different tank builds, different healer roles, different DPS roles, and they each have a different way of approach. Even if you take weapons, right? So if I put in a burst build, I might not want bleed, right? But one other build like Nightblade, running those disease, I might need a little extra because disease is not a dot effect, it's a debuff. So I might want to go ahead and pick up a secondary proc or bleed effects. So they all play different. Each stand build plays different. Every healer role plays different. Every tank role plays different. Just because every class can play every role doesn't mean it plays the same. It doesn't. Honestly, it doesn't. There are similarities. This is true because you got to pick up skills in, Resto or Destro, dual wield, bow, whatever have you. But honestly, you add those class passives, you add those other class abilities, and now you have a diverse character. Now add a different set and different proc effects if you're going to run proc sets. That is completely now a unique build. That's what makes Elder Scrolls so special, guys, because they kept the sandbox core to the game by doing so. And I commend ZOS for doing that. Like I said, I'm not a big class-based fan, but I played tons of class-based games. And I'll just leave you guys with this one. I had not, with testing for Morrowind, this is the one thing I'm going to say. I haven't had this much fun since the original Guild Wars. I'm not talking about Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 1 was really fun for me. It was really fun in a lot of ways. I haven't had this much fun since that time. And that's been years. So I will tell you guys, you might not like certain things, but there are a lot of options in these upcoming months. And some of them might view them as negative, but you should not base an opinion until you play it yourself. Don't take my opinion for it. Don't take Outcast's opinion for it. Don't take any other player's opinion for this except your own. You come to your own decision whether it's something that you like or you don't like. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I think or anybody else thinks. It matters what you think, right? You should be, if you're having fun in anything, that's the only thing that matters. This is entertainment, right, guys? This is not supposed to be, the end of the world type scenario just because they took a little nerf bat, cut down some of the resource management, and had to make you think, oh my God, please, whatever you do, don't think. No, they wanted you to think and, be a little bit more decisive with what direction you're going with your build. You take a look and all these builds are the same. And, how do you diversify it a little bit more? Well, you make them think about that. Do I want burst? And here becomes the thing. If you're going to, rely on Templars and stuff for resource management and stuff, you're going to bite yourself in the ass. Because by not taking into a heavy attack into consideration after these changes, you're basically screwing yourself, right? You really wanted to now pay attention to some heavy attack, animation cancellation throughout your rotation. It's just that simple. Will it slow down some of your DPS? Yes, but that's the intent. The intent is for you to actually, manage some, not all, some of the resources yourself, and be a little bit more careful on how you approach that. That's all it is. I can honestly tell you guys, it's not game breaking. It is not. It is not anything that dramatic. Anything. Some of the weapon sets now that they already had prior to all of this now become more viable, because now you're going to throw in a heavy attack. So a lot of these sets like Sunderflame that we were just completely throwing off to the side because it was based on our weaves, we were ignoring them. We were completely trashing these sets. Why? Because, who wanted to use a heavy attack? If we did an animation cancellation, we do a light for a proc. Or, and light in between our rotation, cancel it out, and grab up some more extra DPS. Now, we have to pay attention to a couple of these sets, pay attention to some of the proc effects, and, take advantage of that. And actually, I commend Zoss for doing so. And yes, I know I sound like a big friggin' fanboy, but to be honest with you guys, these some of these upcoming changes, you guys are gonna like it. I can guarantee you that, and some aren't, and that's the truth. But once again, don't take my opinion for it. Don't take anybody else's opinion for it. Take it and roll with it and see what you think. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, guys. See what you think. I'll try to keep you updated as much as possible. But I just wanted to do a bit on this. I do want to thank you if you have any questions or comments. I'll probably have comments. I do want to go ahead. Please post below. Once again and always, thank you for watching, and have a nice day.